Hello you guys and welcome back. If you guys are new here, my name is Jasmine and I'm your favorite online amiga, prima, and Latina content creator. I don't even know how to start a YouTube video anymore. As you guys can see, I've been off YouTube for such a long time and your girl had to kind of take a step back because I've been going through just so many things in my personal life, and this is exactly what this video is for. I want to sit down, catch up with you guys, and just kind of tell you where I've been at and where my headspace has been at. But if you guys are a longtime supporter of mine, thank you so much for being so patient with me as I'm going through this transition. And if you guys are a new subscriber, please expect more business, lifestyle, and just fun Latino or Mexican content from me. But without further ado, let's get into the video because I know that a lot of you could probably relate to a lot of the things that I'm going through and experiencing and, just growing through. I like to call these growing pains because it's stuff that you go through as you're going through your 20s. So if you guys can tell, I'm actually in a whole new environment. So we did move into a whole new house. I want to say 2 months ago. So it's been since March since we actually moved into a brand new house. It has been such a game changer just to have more space, just to have, just like a bigger space where we can work from, where we can have our family in. My family actually got to visit in March. So at the end of March, it was almost like 2 weeks after we moved in, and my mom came from Ohio for the weekend to visit me, and it was such a fun weekend. She got to see my new house, she got to see Arizona, and that was so much fun, you guys. And so we just said we have to move, we need more space, and we just moved to a whole new house. And I'm saying that because sometimes in life we can be scared to take those risks. We can be, scared to move faster than we anticipated because we didn't anticipate to buy a new house until, maybe September, until our lease was up. And so it was kind of one of those things where we had to either, make the move and just take that risk and break our lease and move at that time or wait. And so we decided to take the risk and we moved to a whole new space, a bigger environment, and it has been life-changing, you guys. I can't, you guys can see my kitchen, and my kitchen is 3 times the amount of space that I had in my old kitchen. So it's been so amazing to have a whole new kitchen and have a bigger space where I can cook and I can just have more space. If you guys are in the kitchen all day meal prepping or washing dishes, or you guys are in and out of the kitchen with your family, you guys know what I mean when I say more space is a blessing. But that has been so time consuming. I mean, it took us about a month or so to move all of our stuff. We kind of did it slowly and gradually. We didn't want to do it all at once because we were so busy with work. And then that's another little life update for you guys. I mean, back in November, December, I got a whole new opportunity to work for Andy Elliott. So if you guys don't know who Andy Elliott is a sales and leadership coach. And it's been an amazing experience working with him. So I actually started working with him more on the marketing and I would say tech side. And then from there, I kind of moved into the marketing and operations side. And now I'm fully committed in helping with the operations and administration side. And it's been so much fun just learning from other high performers, learning from other creatives in the space. And it's been so much fun. I could make a whole video just on getting that opportunity to work for Andy Elliott and work within the company and the culture. But there has been so many life transitions lately. And as you guys know, I'm only 26. I started my marketing agency, I want to say 3 years ago when I was 22, 23. And it's been a lot. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's been a lot. I mean, there has been so many ups and downs, from learning how to start a business, learning how to keep on clients, learn how to keep clients happy, to, still having to have a work-life integration and taking care of my family, taking care of the home life, taking care of my house, cleaning, taking care of myself. So in November, when I got the opportunity, it was a blessing because, as you guys know, me and my boyfriend moved to Arizona about 2 years ago. And so when we moved to Arizona 2 years ago, we were really, really wanting to look for brands who were committed, that wanted to do long-term work. And when we got the blessing to work for Andy Elliott, it was almost like so many blessings just fell on our lap. Living in what I used to pray for, and it's honestly just been such a blessing. But I'm not gonna lie, there are some days where I feel overwhelmed, where I feel like I can't do it all, and I have to genuinely just tell myself, like, there is a way, you know, because people have done it before. You know, other people have been able to run successful businesses and run successful families at home and, you know, still take care of themselves. So if they can do it, there's no excuse that I can't do it. But it has been challenging, you guys, I'm not gonna lie. And I think that another part of it is, you know, as I'm growing and I'm going through my 20s, I'm just unlearning a lot of things, but I'm also learning so many things that I didn't know. I'm learning so many skills that I didn't know. And so with that, that's why I call it growing pains, because every day I'm getting uncomfortable. Every day I'm learning new things. I don't think we talk about this often, but there's a lot of trauma that you have to unpack when you're going from survival mode to going to thriving mode. And I think for a long time, I didn't realize that I was in survival mode. You know, I was happy, don't get me wrong, I was still having a successful business, I was still taking care of myself, but I was constantly in survival mode. How are you looking at life? You know, how is your mindset? How are you looking at certain things? And I realized that within a lot of things in my life, I was looking at it from a sign of fear. I was looking at it as, you know, I was so fearful of losing something. I was so fearful of getting too happy because maybe it wouldn't last. Or I was so fearful of having all this success, you know, when it could just be taken out of your hands so easily. And so I had to unlearn so many things, you guys. And I really felt like I had to take a step back from YouTube, because I never want to make videos and show up on YouTube when I'm not feeling my best self, when I'm not feeling, you know, I'm not saying you have to be 100% perfect, but when I'm not even feeling 80% myself. I think that when I graduated college, you know, I was always on a mission to get my degree, and I always knew what to do. And after graduated college, I, you know, started my marketing agency. I kept running a successful business, but part of me didn't know what was next. I started questioning myself. I was like, you know, I didn't even know what I wanted anymore. I didn't know what direction I should go in. It was like for the first time in my life, I didn't know what I wanted, and I was just so unsure about life. And I've never been like that in my life. I've always known exactly what I want, how to get it, and, you know, how to accomplish it. And so I think not even like as a Hispanic or as a Latina, but I think as a woman, as an ambitious woman, we don't talk about that a lot. How, you know, when you're always in survival mode since you're younger, part of the reason why you're in survival mode is because you have to do these things in order to keep yourself going and in order to sustain yourself. And I think for a long time I was in survival mode because I knew that college was my one way out of poverty. And, you know, my whole family has lived in poverty for generations. And when I graduated college and I started my marketing agency, and I was still living from paycheck to paycheck, and I realized that if I didn't work smarter, if I didn't, you know, educate myself more on creating a business the smart way, I was gonna keep living from paycheck to paycheck. It was a hard reality, you guys. And, you know, maybe I can make a whole video on this, but it's a hard reality that you have to face, that, you know, just because you're in business doesn't mean that you're rich. Just because you're in business doesn't mean that you're making all this money overnight. You know, sometimes your first 2 to 5 years of business is just creating the foundations for your business and making sure that you have, you know, money coming in, or making sure that you're sustaining your expenses, which is a whole nother topic that I could talk about one day. But I feel like I was just learning so many lessons through running my business that it taught me so many lessons about myself and who I was and who I am. And I think for a long time I struggled with my confidence because I had never been unsure, you guys. Like, never in my life have I been as unsure as I was, like maybe like this past year and a half. And I feel like I'm slowly getting out of it now. I feel like I'm slowly getting back to myself. Another life update is that I've been super hard on my fitness journey. I have already lost 10 pounds so far, and maybe I can make a whole video on that. But back in December when I joined And the Elliot, or the LA group, I mean, one of the things that I love about their culture that they, you know, just talk, speak, and act on is fitness and, you know, taking care of yourself. And I have always been an advocate for self-love, you know, just taking care of yourself, just being mentally fit, being physically fit. but they take it to a whole nother level, you guys, and I love it because every single day it challenges me to be better. It challenges me to, you know, get uncomfortable. And so I realized back in December that your girl kind of had let herself go. You know, I think that when I was so unsure, I was falling into like this little depression slope, and I didn't realize it. You know, I was just kind of letting life pass me by without really taking action because I was so unsure of what to do next. And so your girl did fall into a little depression trap, and I didn't realize it. And back in December, it was like a wake-up call where I realized I had gained weight. I realized I didn't like myself, and I was committed to losing the weight, and I was committed to, most importantly, just having a healthier lifestyle where every day I could look up and I could look forward to life again. And that's a feeling that I haven't had for a really long time, you guys. And I can confidently say that now because I feel like I'm slowly getting out of that little hole that I was in. But this is reality. I think that sometimes we look at social media and we look at all these influencers and we look at all these brands and we look at all these companies or people's lives, and we automatically assume that they're perfect, because I know I have. And I used to fall in that trap. I used to fall in the comparison trap of, you know, why can't I be like that person? Or why can't I be as happy as that person? Or why can't I get the results as fast as that person? And I had to take a step back and realize that life is not perfect, you guys. You guys are gonna fall a million times before you succeed. And I had to kind of go through it and experience that dark hole of the last couple months in order for me to be where I am now. And so I really had another thing that I had to break or get out of was that victim mindset. I feel like I have always been so positive and always, you know, been a person that always looks at the positive side, or I'm such a, what's the word, like an optimist? It was kind of toxic because by me always looking at the positive side, I didn't face the reality of, you know, where I was at in life. And so I say that to say that, you know, sometimes that can be kind of toxic, at least for me. When I was always looking at the positive side and not being realistic with where I was at, it was almost like I was creating an excuse for my excuses. And so I had to get out of that victim mentality of, well, this is just where I'm at, or this is just where it's, you know, what it's going to be. And I had to pull myself out of that victim mentality and tell myself, you know, life is hard, it's gonna be hard, but it doesn't give me an excuse to stay at where I'm at or to be at where I'm at. You know, that's not an excuse to keep, you know, talking bad about yourself. That's not an excuse to, you know, give yourself all the excuses in the world of why you can't do it. It's just not an excuse. And I think for a long time before December, I was always constantly giving myself the excuse of, well, it's either fitness or the business. You know, I either focus more on my fitness and my health, or I focus more time on the business. And it was almost like I couldn't have one or the other. And in December, like I said, it was just a wake-up call that, you know, I can't have it all. I just wasn't making the time. I wasn't making the commitment to get back to that person that I used to be, where I always saw a way out. And I think for a long time, because I had been through so many things in my business, I kind of just became a victim. I became a victim and I said, well, this is what it's going to be at. And, you know, life doesn't get much better than this. And it's sad, you know, it's really sad. And I wish I could just go back and hug myself, but I'm glad that I went through that because it made me unlearn so many things. It made me realize that, you know, I needed to change in order for things to change. And luckily, you know, ever since December, I've been full back on my fitness journey. I've been eating healthier. I do track my macros now, and I hit the gym about 5 times a week. So I usually do lifting 4 to 5 times, or 3 to 5 times you could say. And then I always try to get some cardio or just some kind of activity to move my body every single day, because I have realized that if I do cardio or if I do some kind of exercise first thing in the morning, it just sets my day for the whole entire day. And I'm such in a more positive and a more upbeat mood. And I feel like I can do anything because I did the hardest thing at the start of my day, which was do my workout. I wasn't going to put it out there, but I realized that's important because as human beings and as you're going through your 20s, you have to realize that not everybody that started with you is going to be with you in the end. And unfortunately, I realized that it's okay to let people go. It's okay to outgrow people. It's okay to be in different places with people, and it's okay. You know, I think for a long time I was surrounding myself around people that I didn't quite align with, quite frankly, 100% or even 70%, because I had known them for such a long time. And I kept telling myself, well, you know, you don't have to have all the same likes or interests as your friends do. You can still be friends with them. But I think that there's a dangerous side to that, because when you allow people in your space or in your circle that are not on the same journey as you, or that are not on the same, you know, just path as you, even if it doesn't make them a bad person, even if they have, you know, just a whole different lifestyle, it can impact your habits, because then you start making excuses for yourself because somebody else did something different. So that's just what I've encountered for myself. Like I said, take this with a grain of salt. Maybe this doesn't work for you. Maybe you don't relate, and that's okay, because guess what? Everybody on the internet has different likes, beliefs, you know, belief systems, and this is just my journey. But I realized for a long time that because I was acting out of survival mode, I would just be friends with whoever, and I would give everyone a chance, and I would give everyone an opportunity, because again, I've always been so positive. I'm always looking at the positive side, and again, maybe that's just my toxic trait, but because I'm always looking at the positive side, it's almost a disadvantage to me, because it doesn't allow me to see when they don't have the best true intentions for you, when they don't genuinely care for you as a friend, but they more so want to have you as a friend to see what they can benefit from you from. And it's sad, you know, but I just had to go through so many learning lessons by learning to audit my circle. I had to audit my circle, I had to audit myself. And I say this to say that it's not completely their fault, you know. I think as a human being, and when you're going through your 20s, you get to learn what you like in people, what you don't like, what you like in yourself, what you like in friendships, and what you don't like. And I think another reason why I attracted those friendships, or I attracted those friends, was because I didn't fully know myself. I didn't fully know what I liked in friendships. I didn't even fully know how to be a friend, you know. And I've never said this on the internet, and hopefully my mom will not get mad at me, but it's the truth, you know. As a Latina, as a Hispanic, I always grew up with a mom telling me, you know, be careful of your friends, because your friends are just jealous of you, or your friends don't have the best intentions for you. And obviously I've learned that that's not true. You know, obviously I've learned that sometimes your friends can just tell you things because they truly care about you, or because they want to see you become better. But for a long time, I would always remember what my mom said. I would analyze my friends, just like little things that they would do. And in my head, I would internalize it as they're jealous of me. And it's so toxic, you guys, I know, but it was just something that I grew up hearing. And because I grew up hearing it, I would, you know, internalize it and judge people off of that. So meanwhile, you know, I'm judging people, but then I'm not being the best friend, or I'm not being the, you know, the greatest friend I could be to them, by already prejudging them and having like this preconceived notion of them. So it was just so much learning that I had to do. And, you know, obviously I wish this friend well. I love her so much, and I don't wish anything bad towards her. I think right now we're just on different journeys, and, you know, if she's watching this, she knows that I'm always gonna have so much love for her in my heart, and I'm always gonna love her, but we're just on different paths right now. And so that was something that I went through this year, where, you know, I went through some friendship breakups. You know, moving from Ohio, a lot of my friends that I had in Ohio didn't come with me. And I know people always say like, well, you can still communicate with them, or you can still call them and stuff like that. And you can try that as much as you can, but if the person doesn't try either to put an effort to talk to you, it's really hard to have a friendship with someone that's one-sided. So it's just little things like that I learned, that, you know, sometimes it's okay to start over. Sometimes it's okay to leave people at where they're at, because you can meet new friends that are going to be just as amazing. This year I actually got to meet one of my new closest and bestest friends. I can't wait to introduce you guys to her on the channel, but I really feel like God takes away something or someone from your life and puts something in so much better. And I think that that's what totally happened to me this year. You know, I had a friendship breakup, but in turn, God gave me a friend that is worth gold. I mean, this friend just came into my life unexpectedly, and the kind of support that we have each other is different. I mean, there are no bad vibes. I never get, like, there's nothing in my heart that says ever that she's jealous of me, and I don't think like that anymore either, you know? We're so open and honest with each other that when we don't like something about each other, we communicate, we tell each other. And the beauty of it is that we both never take it as a bad thing. We're both like, okay, how can we take this opportunity to grow? And so that was something that I had to learn in my 20s, is I had to learn how to be a better friend. And luckily I got blessed with such an amazing friend group now, because I have friends from all over the place. I have friends from all kinds of industries now that I can ask for help, and it doesn't even have to be work related. You know, it can be, you know, I can ask them for help on personal advice, on family advice. And it's such a beautiful thing to have, because I never experienced anything like this before. And obviously I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still making new friends. I'm not perfect, but I just thought I should put that in this video, and I should include it in there, because maybe I need to make a whole video on friendships. But for a long time, I didn't know how to be a friend. And I think that when you don't know how to be a friend, it can be really hard to make new friends. So when you're going through your 20s, just have grace with yourself, but also give yourself room to grow. You know, give yourself patience to grow, and, you know, have empathy with yourself that you're not going to be perfect, but as long as you self-correct, and as long as you see where you made a mistake, so that way you're not making that mistake over again, that's all that matters. Update is, you know, I'm very private with my relationship, but as you guys have seen from Instagram or from TikTok, I've been posting him more here and there. My boyfriend is a content creator, as you guys know. He actually owns his own videography company. It is a huge part of who I am. It is a huge part of, you know, my life. And for a long time, I feel like I didn't have the best communication, because I always grew up seeing people yelling at each other and fighting. And that's no excuse. Like, I take 100% accountability. That is no excuse for your actions to be shitty, you know, for you to be a shitty person. That's never an excuse. But I feel like this last year, just us moving to Arizona, just us getting a new house, just him bringing his, you know, his kids over here and living with them, it has really taught me a new discipline. It has really taught me a new level of leadership, I guess you could say. And when you have little ones in the house that are always watching you, how you communicate to your partner, how you do things, it is the most important thing that you could ever do. And I always saw how important it was for me to communicate in a healthy way to my partner, but not the way that we do now. I mean, now I just take it so much more serious on a whole different level, because we have little ones in the house watching us. And so everything that I do matters, you know, everything that, you know, how I take care of my house, how I take care of myself, how I take care of our family, everything matters. And, you know, as someone that didn't get raised with the healthiest, you know, family life, I can 100% say that I want to share more tips on how I have a healthy relationship with my partner, on how I have learned these healthy tactics, because I didn't have anybody teaching me this when I was younger. And again, maybe this is too much information and I can talk about it in another video, but I grew up with my dad, you know, throwing my mom's cell phones out the window and destroying them, because that's the kind of relationship that they would have. And I don't think I've ever really said this on the internet, but I think it's important sometimes for us to speak up about these topics, so we can see that there are better ways to raise our children. There are healthier ways to communicate with our partners, and there are healthier ways to introduce, you know, like little tactics or tips to our kids, because whatever they're watching in the house, they're going to replicate one day. And it's just so important for me to be that kind of leader, or be that kind of example that I never had. And so you guys are going to get to see more family content, more, you know, just stuff that I'm learning that I never got to learn when I was younger. But I wanted to include that in this video because I think it is such a huge part of who I am. It is such a huge part of my family, and I feel like I've been rambling on now, but there's just so much to catch up on with you guys. I feel like I've been off YouTube for 3 months, so this is probably going to be a little bit of a longer video. But another life update is, you know, I share a lot about like my Mexican culture and Latino culture on this channel, but I feel like I don't do the best job. And part of it, again, you know, the last couple months I've just been going through so many transitions, but part of it has been that, I'm not gonna lie, I have been just going through this like transition of, I don't know how to show up sometimes, you know, because I'm so used to speaking Spanish around my family, you know, speaking Spanish to my whole family. I mean, none of my family speak English. I mean, my mom speaks a little bit of English, my dad speaks English because he works, you know, through his business, but most of my family, when they're at home, they all speak Spanish. And so when I don't want to call it the outside world, but when I'm in the outside world or I'm in society, I'm always speaking English. And so it's such a different norm, because I think for a long time, I always felt like I had two identities. I had the American version of myself, and then I had like the Hispanic version of myself. And it wasn't until this past year that I realized that I have to do a better job at combining the two and just meshing the two, because it's a part of who I am. It's a part of my identity. And I think for a long time, I just didn't know how to navigate it. And so now just watching Becky G and how much she, you know, just embraces her Mexican Americanness, if that's even a word, I just love that she does that, because it just represents all the Latinos and all the Mexicans that grew up in the United States, but that have two different backgrounds, you know, we always make a joke like, no somos de aquí, no somos de allá, porque cuando hablamos mucho español o cuando hablamos de nuestra cultura, siempre dicen que no somos 100% mexicanos, pero cuando hablamos inglés, or when we're in American settings and we say that, you know, we're American, we're not 100% American. So it's something that it's never really impacted me, because I am who I am, and I'm so confident in who I am and who I was raised to be. But I just noticed like little things when it comes to creating content, when it comes to speaking, I feel like I don't do a good job of meshing the two. So anyways, I feel like that was a little bit of a ramble, but just expect to see more authentic, real content from me, you know, in both English and Spanish, porque it's a part of who I am. Es parte de quien soy mexicana. Even though I was born in the United States, I always say that I feel, you know, 100% mexicana, porque I was raised in that culture. I was raised in that family. I was raised in that kind of environment. And so, you know, for example, a couple months ago, I was at a restaurant and I said, you know, soy mexicana. And somebody was like, well, you weren't born in Mexico, so that doesn't make you mexicana. And it's just like little things like this where it's like somebody always wants to give you your identity for you. Somebody always wants to say who you are. And, you know, I just don't care anymore. I'm never going to make people happy. I'm never going to be what people want me to be, and that's okay. You know, I am who I am. Soy mexicana, soy americana, soy los dos, and that's all that matters to me. But anyways, you guys, I feel like this was such a long video, but there was just so much that I need to get off my mind, and so much that I need to catch up with you guys on. And that is me. I mean, I'm just living an amazing life in Arizona. Expect to see more business, more lifestyle, more content in Espanol from me. And I'm just excited to be back on YouTube and share my journey, because your girl is growing. Your girl is just living life, and I'm loving life again. And it's just such a beautiful thing to just love life again and just experience so many blessings. And I'm blessed to have a platform where you guys are even interested in what I have to say. And I love creating content, and I'm never going to stop. And I love YouTube, and I'm never going to stop making YouTube videos. I know that I might go MIA for a couple months, but I'm never going to stop doing this, because I just love creating content, and I love talking to you guys like as if I'm talking to a friend. And I just love you guys so much. Like, I love YouTube. It's always like my comfort space. Out of all the other platforms, I always say YouTube just feels like home. YouTube just feels like the home, cozy, you know, place that I can always go back to, and I will never feel judged. I will always be treated with so much kindness and love and amor. And I just love you guys so much. But I'm gonna stop rambling on now, you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.